Hey, hi everybody. I am Mike with Jar Consulting. I'm back again with the the main man of Jar Consulting, the chief everything officer, the founder, the president, the head janitor, Kevin Wosmansky. And Kevin, thanks for taking time with me again.
Mike, thank you for taking all this time on a very busy Friday afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. So,
Great.
so I think that we're getting into trying to help these business owners that are suffering from BD.
A lot of business owners suffer from BD these days, Mike, and I think with the world's going, I think that business development is going to become a bigger issue as we start to see the entire landscape and traditional model that business owners operate under in terms of just how they get customers and how customers find them. I think there's going to be a lot more issues with BD than what people realize.
So we've gone over kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it the old-fashioned way of getting customers and how that's turning into the future.
Mike, old fashioned as in the last, what, 1 to 10 years, old fashioned, right?
Exactly. But you know what's funny about technology and what I've learned from you is the fact that it moves so fast that old fashioned can almost be last week, and if you're not on top of it, you're going to get left in the dust.
I
Like even close.
I couldn't agree more with you on that. I have a group of industry owners, agency owners that I'm a part of. It's a pretty in-depth mastermind group. People far smarter than me, and
that's not that hard.
No, it's not.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We were just talking about this today. Actually, they said that we're in a window of probably 12 to 24 months where there's going to be an implosion, where so many businesses are just going to implode and fail, because what's going to happen is business owners that are not implementing all of the different AI tools and evolving into this new landscape, they're going to be so late to the party, it's going to be too late. They're going to wake up one day and say, wait a minute, we've had declining sales. We've had declining revenues. What's happened? And everyone else around them has already implemented all these different agentic models for things like business development, content creation, and brand identification. So
real quick question. Let's put this in real world terms. So I like one of your clients. Give me one of your biggest clients, and I know that you have been, out discussing this with all your clients and how you can help them. When you were talking about, let's use an example, LLM sentiment. I mean, can you explain this? And I mean, tell me your personal experience on how to implement this into your business.
Great. Yeah, great. So it's fun when you start using industry speak and people look at you like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm just a simple Iowa boy grew up in a little farm town, right? So when you start diving into this stuff, Mike, I was with one of my great clients, wonderful human beings, great people, very successful here in the Midwest. We were talking about this. This was yesterday morning, and this client in particular is very, very just basic, simple terms, right? And we get to talking, and I said, it's critical that we start focusing on large language model sentiment training.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
Question that I got from him was, what in the Sam hell are you saying? I've never even heard this phrase. And I said, that's so important. And the thing is, I hear this every single time I talk with someone. And I could ask 100 business owners, business professionals. I don't care if they're CEOs. I don't care if they're contractors. It doesn't matter what business they are. It doesn't matter. But if I go out and I ask them, I say, hey, do you know what SEO is? Mike, what do you think they're going to say? What's SEO?
Search engine optimization.
Here it is. You know the answer. Here it is, right? Search engine optimization. That's what? It's how people find your business today. It's how they found it over the last 10, 20 years. So if you think about something as simple as you jump on Google and you search for something,
right?
That's what it is, right? Or maybe you're on YouTube watching some cool videos and you saw something that was really neat and you're like, oh, wow, that's, they guess what? Now you go and you look that product up and you're like, oh, this is cool. And so product services, it doesn't matter. It's how people find things. Right. SEO has been the model that we've lived in for the last 20 years ish in terms of how people find businesses. Okay. Right. Large language model sentiment training is a complete paradigm shift in how you find services or businesses. And here's the paradigm shift. Okay. Think of Google as a librarian, right? All right. Google was the library. So you would go in and you would ask the librarian for a recommendation on some books. And the librarian would take you and say, here are the books. Here's the information. What do you want to do with it? And I could thumb through the book and I could read the introduction. I could read the back of the book, the cover, and I could look at 3 or 4 different books. And I figured out which one of those books I was going to go check out, buy, or read. Okay.
Makes sense.
Right. And that's what it is, right? I mean, we businesses would put out our website, do social media. We would do all of these different things. So Google or Bing or Yahoo or DuckDuckGo or whatever search engine you're using would find you.
Right.
And then you, the consumer, would start to look through these different these different businesses that you found on, just say, Google.
Right.
So here's the difference. AI is not a librarian. AI is like going to a 5-star fine hotel and having concierge service. It's your concierge. That's what AI is. The purpose of AI, it's to please you. It's to get you the answer you're looking for, and it's to find you that right recommendation.
So you don't have to do all the work.
Well, yes, absolutely. So like as
the consumer doesn't have to do as much work.
Yeah, as a concierge, I'm going to come tell you, listen, here's the expert you're looking for. Here's their reputation. Here's the stuff that they've done. Here's who you need to call. So what it just did was it went out and it found exactly what I'm looking for. It recommended who I should talk to. It sold it for me. So again, you could, if you're looking for a book, you're going to go to the library. You're going to find your librarian. They're going to give you a bunch of books to look at. And then you get to decide.
Correct.
I don't have time for that. I want someone that already did all the homework for me. They searched through the reviews and they already found that for me.
So now, wait a minute, Kevin, I have a question for you real quick. Yeah. So let's put it in your terms. So you're concierge at a 5-star hotel. And and say you want them to recommend a restaurant and a car service for you. Well, that concierge has done his research and everything else, the human, and he picks his favorites. And the way the favorites are is those companies went in and tipped him or did whatever they had to do and sold the guy. Now let's transfer this. How does a business become the AI's favorite place to recommend? And how can you help business with that?
So that's so let's break down the question that people look at you, like weird-eyed when you say, hey, are you even focusing on your LLM sentiment training? So sentiment, what does that agentic model think about your business? That is it's a whole paradigm shift from keywords. So, sentiment is basically SEO for large language models. But where this is so different for businesses, Mike, is that you can't pay money to make the agentic model, the large language model. That's what ChatGPT or Gronk or Gemini is. They are large language learning models.
Okay.
So this is where it gets really, 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 I could ask 100 people in business if they understand or even know what the word LLM sentiment training means. And out of 100, 99.9 are just, they're going to have no clue. And this is so new, Mike. This is like the tip of the spear in terms of trying to prepare and get ready for what's coming, what's coming immediately at us. If we're talking about BD, business development, and how businesses are going to win customers in the future of AI. So your question was, how do you train them to start to recommend your business? And I'll give you a real short answer, but I can tell you we're going to have a lot more fun little discussions like this, or we're going to have to pick individual pieces of this. But how you train a large language model to have positive sentiment on your business, it's simply this: you have to be recognized as the authoritative expert on that subject. So how do you become the authoritative expert that has a positive reputation, that has original insight? How do you do that? That's so therein lies the question. Well, how do you start to do that? And the way that you do that is you have to build up your business brand as the authority.
Okay. So
that's
how do you do that?
You have to become the expert, and you have to let all of these large language learning models understand you're the expert. So creating original content, doing what we're right now. I mean, you have to put content out there in a mass amount this is the key: original, authentic, and authoritative. And I could create podcasts right now, Mike, of you and I doing this, and you and I could be having a cold beer at the pub on a Friday afternoon. We could easily do this, but that's not original. That is an agentic model producing content. And this is where there's such a misperception right now that people have. I'll just have my AI create my blog and put it on my website. Go for it. it's
right.
AI knows that's not a human that produced that content. That's AI that produced the content. So
they know their own stuff, is what you're saying.
Better than we do, Mike. Better than we do. So you can't fake this. And this is where there's so much opportunity for businesses in this new world that we're going into, is to go out there and create and share and educate people about what you do. Okay. Now, this is also where it's going to implode businesses, because people are stuck in their ways. I mean, we're humans. That's what we're used to doing. We find something, we do it, it works. What worked for you in the past 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years, that's not going to work a year from now. There's going to be a drastic shift in how people find, choose, and work with businesses. And so if you are not actively, aggressively trying to build up your brand and your reputation, and it isn't just as simple as let's just go get some Google reviews, or let's just post some content on social media. Those are definitely things you need to do, but it definitely goes beyond that.
Yeah. And so it's got to be overwhelming to any business owner on how to actually make it happen the right way, so that the sentiment goes in their direction. Yeah. And there's probably, from what you're saying, since this is a relatively new technology that is coming at us like a freight train, there's probably very few that are actually doing this in the very current moment. So you want to jump on that train rather than get hit by it.
Well, and absolutely, Mike. There are people doing it and they don't even know they're doing it. That's the crazy thing.
Really? But but if they don't know that they're doing it, then they might not be doing it right.
Well, yes, that's true. Think about it like this. You've got a pretty extensive background in radio. So as a business owner, 10 years ago, I could create a budget and do what with radio? If I wanted everybody in my town to know me, what could I do?
Well, with radio, you would look at your demographics, and each station has its own demographics.
Yep.
And then you pile and then you got to break that down, and you got to go, okay, drive times. So morning drive, afternoon drive, and then you buy 30-second spots, and then cross your fingers and pray that people have their radios on and that they don't switch to another station when the commercials come on. That's radio 10 years ago. It still is today.
It is. The upside of that, though, is this. I could spend a lot of money and I could frequency and push all kinds of commercials out there with the catchy jingle.
Yes.
So as a business owner, the painful part was I had to write a check. I'd write a check, but people could hear me. And if they heard me, they at least got to know my name, right?
Correct.
So, and as a business owner, that was actually a lot easier to do. I mean, you had a meeting with the marketing reps, you recorded a couple of jingles, you figured out a budget, you got the right demographics. Okay. So the difference we talk about people that are doing it today, these are people that are part of what they do. They're just part of their marketing and their branding is they're very active on social media. They're creating original content. Okay. Mike, we're creating original content right now. We're talking about BD. It's business development in the new age of AI, right? Still love that. I think that's great. So everyone but my wife thinks that's a great title for this. So
I think it's hilarious.
So here's the other point I really want to impress upon people. And it's this, being found doesn't mean getting a click. We are so used to right now, we want people to find us. So we want them to click on an ad or a link. And this is where being cited is the answer inside of AI. So this is so critical. Influence does not equal traffic to your website. And this is hard to wrap your brain around because everything we know in business, what we do for our clients is to get traffic to their website. And once they get to the website, they're at the top of the funnel and they work their way down the funnel. That's as traditional as it is. We do this. We do this for a lot of clients. We're shifting and evolving very quickly, like you said, because the freight train's coming. Okay, the freight train is here. So you have to understand that being cited does not mean you're going to get more traffic and more clicks. What it does mean is these AI models, they're citing you as the authority. So when someone's asking, they're recommending it. I hate statistics, but I have to live by statistics too at the same time. There's a lot of information right now. It says someone that is recommended by an AI like a ChatGPT or a Gemini, it carries 4.4 times more, 4.4 times more influence than if somebody just found you on a actual search on a search engine. So if you think about that, you did a search, you found a business, okay? Or if AI recommended you, you're 4.4 times more likely to be trusted by that person. That means they're not going to shop you against competitors. They're going to reach out to you directly.
Correct. Because the thing about it is and as a consumer, and I'm a little more old fashioned. I mean, look at the hair, look at the beard. Old fashioned. I agree with that 1,000% because if I ask, I'm just going to use it as an example. If I ask ChatGPT, hey, my toilet's leaking and I need a really good plumber and I need somebody with a good reputation and a lower cost, and it tells me who to call, I'm going to call XYZ Plumbing. But if I went to Google, did a Google search, then I'm going to have to read all that stuff myself. And I XYZ might not have even came up yet. ChatGPT, like you said, or these AI models know exactly what I asked for. And so I'm going to trust it, and I'm going to call the person that the AI tells me to call.
Well, and that goes back to the concierge. And this goes back to our very first conversation we had a few weeks back. when I said the average person, the average consumer, they have no idea how to use AI. And we're all learning, we're all evolving. But when I say that no idea, what I mean by that is if you just showed up at a hotel, walked up to the concierge desk and said, I need a car. Okay. They say, here's a car. Well, no, I've got 10 people. We're going on a day trip. What I need is a giant, SUV. So, so my point with that is your AI is your concierge. Your AI, as people, as consumers, as humans, we will evolve. And as we start to train our AI, we're going to trust it more. And the more we use it, the more we trust it, the more I don't want to do a search. The more I'm going to take their recommendation and call that plumber. Oh, if this is who Grok says I should call, I'm calling that plumber. Done.
100%. If it turns out good 1 or 2 times, then you're going to be done with Google forever, because ever since you got me on to start using ChatGPT, I don't Google almost anything anymore. The only thing I'll do is, what is Jennifer Aniston's birthday, or something dumb like that. And I will use it for simple things. But when it comes to recommendations, I haven't Googled anything for recommendation in 2 months since you got me started on this stuff.
So now let's just take that one example, Mike. And this is the really, really intriguing part. You're using a free version of ChatGPT, correct?
I was, till you made me buy it.
Now you're using a paid version, right? So that's
yes,
great.
Because you told me to.
Yeah, I did tell you to.
And
so now that you're using a paid version, which there's a million statistics out there, but here's what I know. I ask everybody. I'm a pretty social butterfly. If I'm out to lunch, I ask the waiter or waitress, whoever I'm in business meetings with, whatever. It intrigues me. So you're using paid AI. So you're now that next step up the ladder, right? Which means you're going to start getting better results, and there's more that you're going to get. Well, now the next step up from that is, are you training your AI? And this is where people are not doing this yet. They haven't evolved this far. And by training your AI, you're going in and you're setting up very custom GPTs if it's Chat, or Gems if you're in Gemini. And you're actually, for instance, let's just say you're using ChatGPT. You would train it to do all your finances. So you're actually going to put all of your monthly budget, your expenses, maybe you downloaded bank statements, your retirement statements, paycheck stubs. I know this sounds crazy, but you've trained it to do all of this, so that now when you're sitting there working on bills, it knows all of your bills. It knows all of your financial situation. So you just created a custom agent that is helping you do all of your financial planning, all of your spreadsheets, your bills, your payroll, all that stuff. So that's the evolution, Mike, right there, is as you, the consumer, go from when we first talked about this and I said, you were using free ChatGPT and you're like, I'm not going to pay $10 a month for that. Well, I started sharing with you the benefits. Now you're using paid AI, and then you'll evolve and you'll start training your AI. And that's the part right there where businesses there's going to be big winners and big time losers in business, because businesses that are really, I would say, out in front on this, they understand that as Mike goes from free AI to trained AI, or paid AI to trained AI, guess what? Whoever if you're using ChatGPT, if that tells you the plumber, you're not going to search. You're calling that plumber.
Well, I've already used it twice, dude. I'm serious. I've used it 2 different times. I'm not going to put any businesses in this but I've used it a couple different times, and it said call. This is who you want to call. The little girl tells me this is who you want to call.
Yep.
And if for any reason they don't work out, here would be my second. It gave me 2 recommendations. Call the first one, worked out great. Guess what? And it put the number right on there. All I had, it was insane. And I've only been doing it for a month now, and it already had me down. And it's amazing. So somebody lost business, because had I Googled it, that probably wasn't going to be the person that I was going to call.
Yep.
To be
So
honest
there
with
you go. So somebody that ranked really high on Google, Google search, Google local SEO,
correct.
right?
Who paid to be there?
That's not who AI recommended. So
Not at all. Not even close, bud.
those one or two businesses that you would have called, they don't even know it, but they lost your business.
100%.
Yeah. So here's one other interesting little factoid or tidbit we should talk about here. As we're talking about why would somebody want to start focusing on large language model training or sentiment building? And here's the thing. Large language models have infinite memory. Okay. This is really important. Something really bad that you did in 2019, it's still there. So the value of your brand and your reputation, it's going to be far more important as we move into this new world than it has been. Because as Mike is moving more towards, it's just easier. I trust my AI. I trust it. It's doing the work for me. Okay. As Mike moves more towards that, here's the thing. Your ChatGPT that you're using, it still knows everything from all those plumbers when something really bad or toxic happened to them back in 2015, 2016, 2017, right? It's there. And in business, you know what? You're going to have good things and bad things happen. That's business, right? I mean, it's impossible to have every single customer be super happy. So I think that's why it's even that much more critical that you're creating content as a business. You're telling your story. That's what it is. You're sharing your expertise and your knowledge. Because the more of your story you're telling, the more of your knowledge you're sharing, that helps make up for maybe that bad incident that happened in 2018. That, again, AI has an infinite memory. It knows. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, 100%. So, Kevin, just kind of wrap this up. And I think I want you to summarize. And I think this is really important. So we've kind of discussed, how businesses win by, jumping on this train rather than getting hit by it. I think we kind of barely touched on it, but just to wind this up, how does a business lose by ignoring it?
Oh, great question. That's a great question, Mike. You can tell this is completely unscripted and unedited because
sorry about that.
That's good, man. How do businesses,
got me thinking.
That actually should be a whole episode. How are businesses going to lose? They say in marketing, what is it? Fear of loss is a greater motivator than reward of gain. So
Kevin, you know how when you're watching a TV show and right at the end something happens and it makes you want to go back and watch the next episode?
The cliffhanger. So
here's our cliffhanger. Our next episode, how do businesses lose?
I
guess they're gonna have to watch the next thing to find out how they're gonna lose.
Here's your teaser. Businesses are going to lose customers. They're going to lose market share and possibly lose their entire business because they will fail to evolve faster than their competitor.
So tune in next time, and I guess we're going to tell you how not to lose.
Yeah, we'll tell you how not to lose and how not to lose if you're struggling with business development in the age of AI. I love it. That's a great one, man. Good job.
All right, Kevin. Well, you know what, dude? You gave us so much information today. And it's enough. I am just, for the first time in my life, relieved that I don't own a business because there's so much going on, and I would have to have your help because I couldn't do it myself. Because I don't want to learn all my business, and I don't want to have to learn your business on how to improve my business. That's a whole nother business in itself, which you've taken on for everybody. Makes you the hero.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that, but I will say this, Mike. When you're out and about just for fun, do this in the next week, right? Just ask people randomly if they're in business. Just ask them, say, "Hey, are you really focused on your large language model sentiment training?" And just see the look that they give you. Like anyways, just do that a few times and report back to me next week. All right.
I will. And I might hear a few swear words that I'm not going to be able to say on the air because they're going to be like, what the are you talking about?
What are you? It's so far out there. It's just like you're talking about something on another planet. Like it's interesting. And then here's that. as soon as you give a 1 to 2 minute little here's what it is. Every business owner or business development rep individual, they're like, I got to learn more about this. So,
Right.
so stay tuned. We're going to talk.
Here.
We'll talk about that next week, but I really like that, how businesses are going to lose. We always talk about how they're going to win and get them wins, but I do think it's important to look at how they can lose in this whole age of AI and BD. So
agreed. All right, Kevin. Well, thanks again. And we'll talk next week. And hopefully, everybody is enjoying all the stuff that, you've been sharing with us.
Sounds good, buddy. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, thanks, buddy.